on the day prior to the celebration of Nrsimha's appearance in this world, we are to glorify Nrsimha Day. Though no one's seen him yet. You don't even know he's coming. He appeared and no one expected, least of all Hiranyakasipu. So we are to glorify Nrsimha. That we are supposed to do. Otherwise, if we don't glorify Nrsimha, then we glorify Shravidvarahoshrakara, dogs, hogs, camels and asses. Everyone in this world is busy glorifying dogs, hogs, camels and asses. Some of them in human form. Mostly in human form. Sometimes they directly glorify dogs. They have dog competitions. Who's the best dog? And sometimes they glorify the dogs who have become human beings in presidential elections and this kind of thing. Those who were dogs are going to become dogs. But we shall glorify Nrsimha Day and not Hiranyakasipu. Or should we glorify Hiranyakasipu? No. Shouldn't glorify Hiranyakasipu. It's not a good thing to do. Well, Vishnu himself glorified Hiranyakasipu. When he came as Vamanadev, he came to beg from Bali Maharaj. So, first of all, if you want to get a donation, you have to flatter the person a bit. Put him in a good mood, then you ask for a donation. It's every book distributor, collector, they know that. So Vaman he also did that. He said, you see, you come from such a great family, and this Hiranyakasipu, he was so how are you going to glorify the demons? If you tell them you're a very good person, they don't want to hear that. They have to tell them you're a very bad person, then they like that. Just like Prahlad called Hiranyakasipu Asura Varya. You're the biggest demon. Hiranyakasipu thought, yeah, that's right. That's the proper way to glorify him. So Vaman glorified Bali Maharaj. You see in your family, this Hiranyaksha, he fought with Varaha, with Vishnu. And Vishnu, he thought, that was a tough fight. He thought himself very accomplished to have defeated Hiranyaksha. And Hiranyakasipu, he was so angry. Now that's not a good quality. Except in Nrsimha Day. But for the demons, their anger is not good. But they think it's good. So Vaman glorified Hiranyakasipu. He was so angry. You see, most people, they get angry, then they cool down after some time. But Hiranyakasipu, he maintained an attitude of hatred and anger toward Vishnu throughout his life. He never cooled down. He had such intense hatred. So in this way, Vamanadev glorified Hiranyakasipu. And we're also grateful to Hiranyakasipu. For what? Well, Nrsimhadev appeared. Why? To protect Prahlad. From who? From Hiranyakasipu. So if Hiranyakasipu had not been Hiranyakasipu, then we wouldn't be celebrating the appearance of Nrsimha, at least not in this way. When we remember Nrsimha, we have to remember Hiranyakashipu. So he's glorified, and he also glorified Vishnu better than Prahlad, according to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. In the Satya Yuga, Hiranyakashipu glorified Vishnu better than did Prahlad. Now where will you find that Hiranyakashipu glorified Vishnu? We won't find anything he says. Of course, Vagisha Yasya Vadane, Vagisha, Saraswati, who is always in the mouth of Nrsimhadev. So she doesn't like to hear Nrsimhadev blasphemed. So even when Hiranyakashipu blasphemes Vishnu, Saraswati enters, and she and Vishwanath Chakravarti always, whenever a demon's blaspheming Vishnu, he finds out how actually they're glorifying Vishnu. You just have to, they're not meaning to do so, but the words are understood by the devotees that, inspired by Saraswati, they are speaking actually in glorification of Vishnu. But Hiranyakashipu glorified Vishnu. We find that he generally blasphemed Vishnu. He mocked Vishnu after Varaha had killed Hiranyaksha. Hiranyakashipu, he mocked Vishnu. You see, he's given up, this Vishnu, he's given up his impartiality. He's supposed to be impartial, fair to everyone. Samoham sarva bhuteshu. I'm fair to everyone. But Hiranyakashipu said he's given up his impartiality to favor the demigods. So in this way he actually glorified Vishnu. That Vishnu is supposed to be impartial, but he is partial to the demigods, actually to his devotees. So that's actually what appears to be a fault of partiality is Krishna's great quality. If he's just impartial, this justice, the figure of justice has this blindfold. That, okay, whatever you do, whatever you do, I give the result, that's all. If you're good, I give you a good result. If you're bad, I give you a bad result. Then this is the conception of the karma mimamsakas. Well, if there's a God, He gives good result for good people and bad result for bad people. So what do we care about Him? He's also bound by the Vedic rules. But Krishna is not bound by the Vedic rules. He flouts them all the time for the sake of His devotees. So He is impartial, but He's partial to His devotees. And this way Hiranyakashipu was actually glorifying Vishnu for being partial. He was stating it as a fault, but actually it's the greatest quality of Vishnu, that He's partial to His devotees. Now, another point of Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, He is independent. That states right in the first shloka of Srimad Bhagavatam, that Swarat, He is independent. He doesn't need anyone or anything. Everything is relative to Him. We exist for His pleasure. But then later we'll find himself state contradicting Vyasadeva. He is Vyasadeva. Aham bhakta paradhino. I am dependent upon my devotees. I'm subordinate. So everything, he's independent. He's independent in all respects. He's dependent upon his devotees also. So you may say that's contradictory. Yes, it's contradictory. And that is the nature of Bhagavan. He's contradictory. And that is also not a fault. That is his greatest quality. The demons like Hiranyakasipu will see it as a fault. But that's another of his great qualities, that everything is resolved in him and he's contradictory also. Everything about him is contradictory. Therefore you can't understand him at all. So he's independent, means everything happens in relationship to him. His pleasure is the reason for everything, the ultimate cause of everything. He's the sarva karana karanam. He's the ultimate cause of everything. So everything rests ultimately on his pleasure. Everything is good. And the whole material world, we're all here because we're all mini Hiranyakashipus. We're all trying to be God, separate from him, not acting for his pleasure. So everything centers around him. But we are all in relation to him. But he appeared because of Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu made such a big disturbance that Vishnu became obliged to appear. Of course, he could just, send someone down or send a thunderbolt down or have Hiranyakashipu have a heart attack. Hiranyakashipu didn't ask for protection from heart attacks. So he could have done that also, but it wouldn't have been much fun. And what's more, Nrsimhadev, he had to come personally. Just like we see Krishna, he becomes, although he's supposed to, what is this? Ekale Ishvara Krishna Arasabhrita Jare Joiche Nache Tare Toiche Kare Nritya. Krishna is the Supreme Lord. All others are his servants. As he makes others dance according to the way he wants them to dance, but then in relation to his devotees, he dances according to the way they dance. He learns dancing from Radharani. So he becomes relative to his devotees. So he was forced to appear by Hiranyakashipu. Now if you say this outside the Gauriya Sampradaya, they'll kick you for being an offender. So only Gauriyas can speak like this. That he couldn't control his senses. That's another thing. Hiranyakashipu blamed Vishnu. He cannot control his mind and sense. And it is a fact that he became so angry at Hiranyakashipu. It wasn't going to be enough for him just to send some Yamadutas or Vishnu Dutas or someone to beat him up. But he had to personally appear and rip that demon to pieces. So this is Bhagavan. His anger. Such anger. Hiranyakashipu, Vishnu glorified. Vamandev glorified. How angry is such a person? Such anger that was the anger of Hiranyakashipu was so dangerous. That his ambition to control the worlds, he went and performed tapasya. Tapasya, this tapa, heat, generating heat. So by Hiranyakashipu's tapasya, the whole universe became suffocated and hot. This tapasya, this intensity of his tapasya, that he had this, and what is that? His desire to dominate and control the universe. That was inspired, the demons, they're inspired, they want to enjoy and control, but the underlying emotion is anger against Vishnu. Why is Vishnu powerful? I shall be more powerful. So his concentrated anger threatened to burn the whole universe. Then Brahma came, sprinkled some water on him, cooled him down a bit and said, okay, alright, now what do you want? Benedictions, this, alright. Immortality, sorry, can't give you, but alright, won't be killed in the day or night, okay, alright, won't be killed by any human, god or beast, alright, that's okay. Won't be killed inside or outside, that's okay. Won't be killed in the water, in the sky or the land, okay, you can have all these benedictions. So Hiranyakashipu, he then embarked on a campaign of harassing Indra and others. Indrari vyakalam lokam hridayanti yuge yuge. He comes this in every yuga, Vishnu comes to counteract the demons who are the enemies of Indra in every yuga. But actually we find Hiranyakashipu's family, they were such demons, such enemies of Indra, that even in one yuga, even in, 1, 2, 3, 4, in 5 generations, he came 3 times. Vishnu came. In one generation, he came twice to destroy Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. And then the grandson of Prahlad, Bali, he came again. So they were real high pedigree demons, not just your Stalins or your Mussolinis, but real universal demons. So Vishnu, he came in counteraction to that anger. Hiranyakashipu was so angry because he is not God. He wants to be God. Every demon, they have this ambition to be God. I will control. I will dominate. I will enjoy. Ishvaro ham, aham bhogi, siddho ham, balavan sukhi. This was Hiranyakashipu's motto. I am the controller. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect. I am powerful. I am happy. But actually he knows that Vishnu is the right person to say this. The demons say this, but only Vishnu can say it. So it's their whole being, there's a underlying hatred of Vishnu. And Hiranyakashipu, he had that tremendous intensity of hatred. He wanted to enjoy the world, but actually he couldn't. He was always frustrated, even though he had all facility to enjoy. No demon since has had such facility to enjoy. I mean, even he came again as Ravana, but he went around and bullied some of the demigods for some time, and then he just settled down in Lanka and was leading a peaceful, retired life until he had the bad idea to kidnap Sita. And Shishupal, he came again as Shishupal, and we don't find that he exhibited such a universally destructive character as he did as Hiranyakasipu or Ravana. He was just, not a demon, that's all. There are so many demons. And Krishna, with the help of others, was knocking them off one after another. So Shishupal, he didn't exhibit such great demonic. Of course, he was blaspheming Krishna. That's not very good. But he wasn't a universal demon. So Hiranyakasipu, he was the first of 3 appearances, according to Bhagavatam, and is the most intense. And he got the most intense response also. Ye yata mam prapadyante tangas tathaiva bhajamyaham. He got an intense response. His anger was such that even Vishnu glorified it. Such anger he maintained throughout his whole life. Therefore he couldn't be happy. Actually, no one can be happy. Whether you're angry or not angry, no one can be happy without recognizing Vishnu's superiority. So Hiranyakasipu, despite having all facility to dominate the universe and all facility for sense enjoyment, he was always frustrated and always angry because he was trying to be something he's not. He's trying to be God. And he hated Vishnu. That was his anger, that he knew, I cannot become Vishnu. He mocked Vishnu. Where's that Vishnu? We don't see Vishnu. He's hidden away. Actually, he was hidden. He was, that Vamandev also said, that Vishnu became so afraid of Hiranyakasipu that he hid inside Hiranyakasipu's heart. So Hiranyakasipu couldn't find him. He hid away. He wasn't manifest. He was just just like Hiranyakasipu's austerity. He was performing austerity, and the intensity built up and built up and built up till the whole universe was suffocated. And then Brahma had to appear and make some adjustment. So in the same way, Hiranyakasipu's offenses and his hatred of Prahlad was building up and building up and building up until this time Vishnu appeared and just showed that after all he is supreme. Despite Hiranyakasipu's wishful thinking, of course Hiranyakasipu was not simply a wishful thinker, he was an ambitious person. He's not this kind of person who sits at home and daydreams about being a big shot. But he did something. He was an achiever. He was a success. He did something with his life. Those of you, well, in India, that's what they advertise, right? You should do something with your life, be a success, make your mark. So and they give examples of, you see this Dhirubhai Ambani, and how he made himself, it was nothing and he made himself such a big man. Actually, they should give the example of Hiranyakasipu. Because by his own prowess, he made himself much, much bigger than Dhirubhai Ambani. Which most of you, if you're not from India, you've never heard of him. If you're from India, you've heard of him because he had his own propaganda machine going on. But Hiranyakasipu, he didn't need a propaganda machine because everyone in the universe knew him and feared him. And he didn't need a PR department because he didn't care for PR. He didn't, what do they call that nowadays? Communications. How to fool people, that you're nice when you're not nice. You see, you exploit people and then you have someone spin. They put the spin on it to make it... Actually, we're acting for your benefit. So, Hiranyakasipu, he was a great success. There's never been anyone since then, self-made man. He dominated the whole universe. But he failed to acknowledge that his power came from Vishnu. Why was Hiranyakasipu so angry against Prahlad? I mean, after all, Prahlad was a little boy, and little boys, if they speak nonsense, you might slap them. Nowadays, it's not allowed, but usually if the child gets too naughty, you give them a little slap. I'm not condoning it, otherwise I'll get censured by the CPO or whatever. But you don't take it very seriously. But what really made Hiranyakasipu angry was he asked Prahlad, what is the source of your power? And Hiranyakasipu, actually when he said this, then he admitted defeat. By asking this question, he admitted defeat before Prahlad. Because Hiranyakasipu thought, I have attained power by myself, by my austerities. I have forced Brahma to give me all this power. But he saw that Prahlad was more powerful than him, because all the endeavors of Hiranyakasipu to censor Prahlad, to kill, to torture Prahlad, to kill him, it was all useless. Prahlad was just Prahlad. Prahlad means happy. So Hiranyakasipu is trying to torture and kill and silence and stop. And Prahlad just doesn't even bother. He's not even diplomatically trying to avoid and pretend that he's not a devotee. He just tells Hiranyakasipu, look, you're just a demon. You're just stupid. That's all. You should worship Vishnu. Prahlad's completely fearless. He doesn't care for Hiranyakasipu. Indra and everyone, they're all hiding away. And Prahlad doesn't even care. And he hasn't even done any austerities. He's so powerful that he can nonchalantly defy Hiranyakasipu. It's like so insulting, If someone came in front of him and fought him, well, that's what Hiranyakasipu can understand, because he's a demon. And then Hiranyakasipu will defeat him. So no one comes in front of him to fight him, because they're all afraid, because they know they'll get killed, because Hiranyakasipu is so powerful. But Prahlad doesn't even fight Hiranyakasipu. He's just insignificant, that's all. Doesn't even bother. Hiranyakasipu wants to kill him. Alright, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Doesn't even bother. So Hiranyakasipu asked, what is the source of your power? And in doing so, he admitted defeat by saying that, admitting your power is more than mine. And I don't even know where you got it from. I know where I got my power from. But actually he didn't. That's what Prahlad told him. The source of your power and the source of my power is the same. And the source is Vishnu. And there's nothing could be said to Hiranyakasipu that would irritate him more. He's naturally angry. But on hearing that, he became so angry because he needs to live in the illusion that I am self-made. My power is mine. I am self-powerful. I am independent. But Prahlad said, no. Your power comes from Vishnu. Actually, that's the fact. But Hiranyakasipu, on hearing this, whatever anger he had became stoked up thousands and millions of times, so that his anger, which actually he didn't have a proper focus for his anger. Who can he be angry at? Who is there to challenge him? There's no fun in being so powerful, but you can't manifest it. You have no way to manifest it. It's just like, you have like a very fast car, but you don't have any good roads you can't drive fast, or it's full of these bumps in the road. And you have a car which can go at 250 kilometers an hour, but you're stuck in a traffic jam or something. So Hiranyakasipu, Indra, all the demigods, he had so much power, no means to manifest it. And then when he tried to manifest it on Prahlad, it was like Indra trying to throw his thunderbolt at Hiranyakasipu's chest. And that thunderbolt just would break on it. Instead of breaking the chest, it would break, the thunderbolt itself would break. And Hiranyakasipu would just laugh. So he became intensely focused on Prahlad with great anger. But Prahlad didn't even Hiranyakasipu couldn't work it out, because if someone becomes angry, you either become angry back at them or fearful. You either try to fight them or you run away. And Prahlad didn't do either. So Hiranyakasipu, he was bewildered. He just became more and more and more and more angry. So just like it was building up when he was doing his tapasya, building up, and eventually Brahma had to come and cool down Hiranyakasipu, poured some water on him. So it was building up and building up. Hiranyakasipu's anger was building. See, I'm glorifying Hiranyakasipu. I haven't said much about Nrsimha yet. He's coming tomorrow. The anger's building up. So then, as we all know, Hiranyakasipu's anger building up. And then, what's the end to this story? Nrsimha appeared. And Hiranyakasipu, just like Nrsimha, appeared because he needed someone to fight with. Who's he going to fight with? Of course, he fights with his friends, the cowherd boys. He fights with the gopis. But that's not very serious fighting. It doesn't end up in ripping out the intestines. But this time, he was angry. And when God gets angry, usually his anger, he takes the form of Rudra. In the form of Rudra, his anger manifests, and that destroys the whole universe. That's the result of his anger. That's why after Nrsimha killed Hiranyakasipu, the first to petition Nrsimha just was Rudra, who is the form of Vishnu's anger for destroying the universe. He said, okay, thanks very much. Now, could you just cool down a bit, because it's not the time for the universal destruction. If you go on being angry like this, the whole universe will be destroyed. But Rudra and Brahma and Indra and all, they couldn't cool him down. When Vishnu gets angry, it's, you just can't cool him down very easily. When his anger, such anger, his partial manifestation as Rudra manifests that anger and destroys the whole universe. Now who is he going to fight with? He fought with Hiranyakasipu, and Hiranyakasipu was also very satisfied. Because who will he fight with? There's no one suitable for him to fight with. So actually Hiranyakasipu, he was also ultimately satisfied. Just like Hiranyaksha before that. When he went to Varuna, he asked, "Hey, I heard you're very powerful, why don't you give me a fight?" And Varuna said, "No, I'm too old now." He made some excuse. But Vishnu will come. Eventually Vishnu will come and he will kill you. You'll get a good fight from Vishnu. So Hiranyaksha, he was very pleased actually to hear that. Yeah, I'll get a good fight and Vishnu will kill me. So the demons, and actually the Kshatriyas also, they may be demons or not demons. Real Kshatriyas, they're not demons. But to fight, for them to fight and ultimately to be killed, that's their pleasure. It's difficult for us to understand. But because the demons, they're absorbed in anger, and the ultimate conclusion of that is death. And if they are to find a suitable combatant who they can have a good fight with, if they're killed by such a person, they don't consider that as a humiliator. That's why Vishnu, Vamanadev, he glorified Bali Maharaj. See in your family this. They were killed by Vishnu. Only Vishnu could kill them. So that anger, when God gets angry, what anger is that? That anger is sufficient to destroy all the universes. Such anger. We indirectly, even now, so many years later, this Hitler is being glorified. Even now you'll find that still it seems the British people, especially it seems the British, they're fascinated by Hitler. They're always writing about the Nazis and Hitler. So indirectly they're glorifying him as being a great personality. Even, I think about 2 years ago or 3 years ago, one of these princes, so-called princes, one of the sons of Prince Charles, he had some Nazi swastika, inverse swastika. He had it on his shoulder, some symbol like that. And even after so many years, that became a big issue. That why is he pretending to be odd? Why is he doing that? Because the British, it just goes to show how afraid they were of Hitler. So they, indirectly they glorify him, Hitler. So, Nrsimhadev, he glorified Hiranyakasipu. Hiranyakasipu glorified Nrsimhadev better than Prahlad. Because a devotee will say to Vishnu, "You are very great." Devotees should say that. We always say that. But how great he is, we don't see. Of course, how he manifests all the universes, only he can do that. But his power, the power by which he creates, maintains and destroys the universes, that was all manifest. Prakat is manifest. It was all there. All concentrated on Hiranyakasipu. Such intensity. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. One should worship Vishnu with intensity. This Mayavadis, they want to be non-intense. Just everything is nice. Smile. Smile and be nice. Don't be extreme. Buddhism, middle path. Just don't be attached to anything. Don't love anyone. Don't hate anyone. Just like this. Just be completely neutral and mild. But Bhagavan is not like that. He loves his devotees intensely. This way he glorified Prahlad. Therefore Prahlad, all his love of Prahlad became intensely concentrated in anger against Hiranyakasipu. You can see that photo. Is there a photo of Hiranyakasipu being ripped to pieces by Nrsimha? Photo. Windows into the spiritual world. That famous picture painted under the direction of Srila Prabhupada. Classic. You'll find that face of Nrsimha, that classic picture, that's on many internet sites and blogs, and people have taken that. I don't think they even know who Nrsimha is, but it's circulating all over the internet. I guess the demons, they like that. It's the punks or whatever. They like that. They don't realize that they got a long way to go to make Nrsimha appear. They're going to be a much bigger demon. They can't be such a demon. Only a devotee can be such a demon. Actually, Nrsimha Dev is glorifying Prahlad with his intensity. At that moment, his intensity of focus on Hiranyakasipu, that is actually his devotee. Only his devotee can have such, even the demons, they cannot have such intensity as the devotees when they become a demon. Because this intensity we don't see, this Nrsimha Leela, anger is so intense but that's there also. That is there, that is the nature of the spiritual world. Intense love of Krishna. It may not manifest in such a manifest manner. It may not be open for all to see. In fact, often it's not. We find in the dealings of Krishna with his devotees, it's often subtle. They don't directly express it. The demons are gross. They're not subtle. So, Hiranyakasipu, gross, open hatred of Vishnu and hatred of everyone else, except those who glorified him. Prahlad didn't glorify him. So in Krishna Lila we find it's often very subtle. Paroksham chamama priya, Krishna says, I like this indirect talks. Just like we find in the dealings of Krishna with the gopi. They won't say openly. The most intense is that Kurukshetra, that Leela, in which the gopis, they glorify Krishna, but indirectly they're blaming him. So that extreme intensity we cannot imagine, but that was manifest by Nrsimha on Hiranyakasipu, who had that intensity of hatred that was the perverted love of the doorkeeper of Vaikuntha. And then we have to go following Gopakumar into Vaikuntha. Beyond, we go to Ayodhya, Dwaraka, and then come to Vrindavan. So much intensity. It's unimaginable. A material body and mind cannot accommodate such intensity. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says, actually I have no love for Krishna. If I actually had love for Krishna, I should have died. Because how can you live with such intensity of emotion that is only possible in the spiritual world? It's not imaginable for us. Here in this material world, our emotions are dull. What is called in this world love, what is called hate, what is called kindness, what is called unkindness, all these emotions are dull. They're just slightly manifest. Achaitanyamidam Vishvam. We're almost dead. In this material world, being separated from Krishna, we're almost dead. But actual life is intense love of Krishna. And that intensity was manifested by Nrsimhadev. All of the anger, which is for all the demons, for destroying all the universe, all the anger, the source of all anger is personally manifesting his anger, and it's all concentrated on Hiranyakasipu. What a benediction. Hiranyakasipu, at that time, Nrsimha, Lakshmi, he's not thinking of Lakshmi. He's not thinking of Vaikuntha. He's not thinking of himself. All he can see is Hiranyakasipu with such anger that how to manifest that? The least you can do is kill him. And then put the intestines. Who will do such a thing? Tomorrow we're going to make an intestine gala, and who's going to volunteer their intestines? It's horrible, isn't it? I mean, if someone kills murder is not very nice, but if someone kills them and then dismembers their body and then takes the intestines out and wraps it, and you think this person's crazy. It's just, but why did Nrsimha do that? It's just like his anger was, it wasn't requited by killing Hiranyakasipu. He didn't stop by putting Hiranyakasipu's intestines, the nastiest part of the body. He glorified Hiranyakasipu. That you never wanted to offer me a garland. Anyway, I'm taking it. What you're concerned with is all stool. You give great importance to stool. Everything you're interested in, sense gratification, is all stool. So you take that very seriously? All right. The thing that you take most seriously, I'll put around my neck. Who can understand? What is Nrsimha? What is his anger? What is his love for Prahlad? Why do the Gauriya Vaishnavas discuss Nrsimha Dev? What do they do? We're supposed to be concerned with gopis and Yamuna and flutes. What are we doing glorifying Nrsimha Dev? What's it got to do with us? Well, Hare Krishna. It's an unanswered question. No, I think don't show this. Take it. There's some complaint against it. All right, well, I guess we'd better wait for the answer. No time now. Nrsimha's coming. When he comes, Hiranyakasipu can't say, could you just wait a few minutes? I've got to say goodbye to my friends. They allow that, right? They're about to be executed and they're allowed to kiss their mother or something like that. No such chance. When Nrsimha's coming, even Hiranyakasipu says, could you just wait? Hiranyakasipu, Nrsimha can't hear him even. He's